And I would like to call on stage Mr. Prasanna Nagarajan, if I say that correctly. I always say, who is the CTO of OQ Technology. Mr. Christos Giordamlis, he's the Managing Director of Prisma Electronics, not except here. I will sit here, you can sit there. Christos Giordamlis is here, yeah, he's coming. Mr. Ioannis Bligiannis, he's the lead system engineer for the Space and Defense Program at the FA Group. And also Mr. Georgios Exarchou, he's the founder CEO of Pollux Tech. So we are talking about, space to real-world impact. So I would like a little bit to talk about that. So I will start with Mr. Giordamlis, because we're talking about maritime resilience, which is becoming increasingly important for countries like Greece. How can space technologies improve the safety, efficiency, stability of shipping and maritime operations? Can you give us some examples?
Thank you for the question. We live in a new age where the systems of the past...
The microphone.
Okay. Where the systems of the past are not operating as expected. We learn to rely on GPS, for example, and we have seen that in dangerous water, GPS is not a reliable source. Communications, the same. Systems like AIS in Maritime, again, it's something that mostly is not working due to external purposes or internal purposes. So both countries, but also technology, today is working to provide new type of solutions. And also, we have seen that sustainability, ability of systems to operate with reduced energy sources is something really crucial if we want to protect lives, if we want to protect cargo, ships, but the life itself. So today, technology, especially coming from space, is working in a hard manner for new type of technologies.
And you're doing that, right? With the Larios satellite, the MICE-1, sorry.
MICE-1 focusing in such specific domains. AIS-2 is coming, and with MICE-1, we are working toward to this direction. IoT, data packets exchange, something parallel to Starlink and typical communications and to messaging operations is also something that we experiment and we are working for this in order, in a near future, to be in a position to provide next generation of services.
And you've seen some very good results from, so far, the operation of the satellite, right?
We are really happy from the outcome till now, for the experiments, for the proof of concepts that we are now exhibiting, having a spacecraft in operation.
Okay. Now, coming to Prasanna, we're talking about satellite connectivity, it's evolving rapidly, and also making able to connect devices almost anywhere. You're doing that with IoT, and the 5G and all that stuff. We've seen the demos, and also Mark was talking yesterday. But how do you see, in general, direct satellite connectivity, and I mean direct satellite connectivity, transforming critical services such as environmental monitoring, emergency response, maritime operations? How do you see that evolve?
So, first of all, it's always great to be back in Greece. Yeah. I love the weather in Athens, the food, and the ease of doing business.
Even that weather here, it's too hot, I think, no?
Yes, but it's still good.
It's still good, okay.
So, I think, speaking of connectivity in general, today this is something all of us can agree, is that connectivity is not a luxury anymore. It's become a necessity. Now, having said that, direct-to-satellite connectivity we see as the next big revolution and the most impactful technological advancement that will change and shape the way we interact with our environment, the way we interact with each other, and the way we do businesses as well. While, of course, on the business side of things, there are a lot of advancements happening when it comes to satellite connectivity. I think the most important aspect that we should all look at, and I am personally excited about, is how it impacts human lives in general. When it comes to emergency responders or critical services such as environmental monitoring and prediction, in case of first responders being able to connect to communities and the end users and civil communities as a whole. I think this is where the biggest transformation is going to happen, and having a regulated and a uniform framework and infrastructure for emergency services is going to be the next biggest contribution when it comes to direct-to-satellite connectivity, whether be it emergency responses, SOS services, or even a simple two-way messages where an affected victim is able to reach the first responder and say, hey, I need help, and then he or she gets the reassurance. He or she gets the reassurance that yes, help is coming. You know, I think that's the biggest.
But also we're talking something about a different approach, because at this point we're talking about more connectivity, more telecommunications part of the satellite, which is really changing the whole scenery, not just for this kind of applications, right? For other applications as well, I would say, right?
Absolutely. I think when we're speaking about other applications, I think the Greek forest fires are world famous.
Yeah.
So I think environmental monitoring, and as Christos highlighted, there is a lot of maritime activities surrounding the ports of Athens and the rest of Greece, and there we already see a lot of use cases coming up when it comes to maritime tracking, environmental monitoring, early warning systems for adverse weather conditions, and so on. I think these are great applications that will be positively impacted by direct-to-satellite connectivity.
Okay, Mr. Bligiannis, now, we get the data from the satellites, okay, and the space systems generate, I think, enormous amounts of information data. How important and how we're going to do that to have the integration of this satellite data into decision-making systems for civil protection and crisis management?
Okay. The integration of satellite data to decision-making systems is actually essential for the resilience, but also for the economic security. We can say, for example, that from European Commission data and from my personal experience while I was serving at ESA for the Galileo program, the satellite navigation contributes around 10% of EU's GDP, while Earth observation data is indispensable for crisis, natural disaster and crisis management. But that doesn't mean that just data is better response. The real value comes when we actually fuse different feed sensors, feed data from maritime, IoT, satellite, UAVs into a trusted common operational picture. And what is that? The common operational picture is transforms information into advantage in the field. Around 80% of battlefield information comes from different land, sea, air feeds, and actually connecting all that to resilient communications like satellite backhauling or future 5G NTN, the value becomes better, and from IFA's and actually this is very, very important for Greece and the wider Eastern Mediterranean area, because we know geography, earthquakes, floods, incidents in the maritime domain on the islands, they do not come under ideal conditions.
Microphone, please.
Sorry?
The microphone a little bit
The
closer to the mouth.
microphone,
Yeah.
They need coordination across different teams and authorities. And from IFA's perspective, that's why actually we need to accelerate the data to decision cycle. And from IFA's perspective, we see this common operational picture as a trusted, secure decision environment that will bring better situational awareness, civil protection, and crisis management.
Okay, now going to Mr. Exarchou. We're talking about human-centric maritime safety. As ships becomes more connected and digital visible, the person at sea remains a critical blind spot, especially in emergency situations. How can space-based technologies help create a more human-centric layer of maritime safe, and where does Pollux tech fit into that fit?
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the invite too. Excellent panel and excellent organization. We're developing a solution that focuses on geolocation of personnel, either in civil shipping or commercial shipping or in military environments. Traditionally, maritime safety has been focused on the vessel using satellites of geostationary orbit, like COSPAS-ARSAT. We're using low Earth orbit capabilities. We are using the power of the ecosystem, both in our case of the ASOS, the Autonomous System of Overboard Safety, where we have contracted Iridium as the satellite communications partner. We have contracted Bureau Veritas as our classification partner, which is crucial in shipping and often neglected by the industrial side of things. You need to have a clear pathway towards integration through regulation. And I'm happy to announce that the prototyping partner will be Prisma Electronics. Therefore, we not
the
only...
microphone a little bit closer to the mouth, that's why.
Thank you very much, okay. We are happy to have an ecosystem around our technology of international caliber, but showing the power of the Greek maritime space tech ecosystem. I believe this is very important. And jumping to the second part of the question, on the maritime ecosystem in Greece.
I was going to ask that.
I know.
Yeah, but because I want also to ask Mr. Giordamlis about, but talking about the ecosystem, the Greek maritime ecosystems, what do we need to do in Greece in order to become, from adopting
Perfect.
technologies developed elsewhere to producing, validating, and exporting
Perfect.
our
Thank
own?
you. This is the key question for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask Mr. Giordamlis, so let's say, yeah. But let's start with you.
It coincides today. We're publishing with a think tank I'm cooperating with Dr. Avram Loutridis, my co-founder and chief product officer, on how we can leverage the Greek shipping, the Greek fleet. China is pushing for the dual fuel engines with methanol. Why? Because China is the largest producer of methanol. Greece, the Greek fleet, the Greek ship owners have been good purchasers of technology, but they have not managed to develop this capability to an ecosystem developing technologies. Therefore, we believe this is a real chance. What you need? Cooperation from institutions, technical dialogue from companies, startups, spin-offs, universities, regulatory authorities, smart financing. We saw last week there was an article about the tourist industry making an accelerator for tourist startups. There is
an accelerator for that for the last 7 years in Greece.
For what?
For an accelerator for tourism startups.
For the tourist startups?
Yeah.
There is one?
Yeah, the first one in Europe.
It's
the seventh year, Capsule
I saw it last week on CNN. I have it referenced in my article. I will see your references and your sources. This is mine. There is no such thing for the Greek shipping.
That's true.
We need to do it. It is unthinkable not to have one and have one for tourists, which is a service-based economy, and it's not the backbone of the global economy because the oceans connect global maritime, global economy, and space connects the oceans. We are in a strategic position to develop technologies. We see there is movement. There is some movement, but we need to have a more organized structure of this approach. and we're happy to be part of it, happy to be part of companies like Prisma with the Laros technologies. We see movement on that, but we need to have a more structured approach in things. And thank you very
I
much
will
for the
totally agree with that. Mr. Giordamlis, mainly on the same subject, okay, talking about, you've made your own spacecraft in orbit. Okay, how difficult was that for a Greek company that it's not in a foreign entity? What do you also believe in? What's your next plans? And exactly how do that things that Mr. Exarchou was talking about, if you agree or not about that?
First of all, the whole journey is an amazing experience.
Okay.
And it's against all odds because possibilities is against on what we are doing. And only when smart people sit on the same table and strengthen each other's capabilities can achieve, make such operations to happen. From the other side, we have seen that today technology can do plenty of things, but different technologies have different advantages and disadvantages. And especially in space, you need all of them. You have seen, for example, that you have optical sensors, you have satellites with optical sensors, with thermal camera sensors, with SAR sensors. It's not competitive. It's supplementary, and all of them together allow you to have a better understanding and to have better resilience and better decisions using AI and mathematical models that it's a huge explosion today in the entire world. Another important factor is the more data that you have, the better decisions that you can have. And data is not spontaneous. You need to have
historical data, more data. Yeah, okay.
And you need to have structured data and also events and also your own libraries in order to train those data and make decisions. So it's a new world that is coming, and we are happy that Greece, despite the delays of many years in the past, today is in a good position, and the only thing that lacks typically is continuity and proper planning that will allow companies and institutions to act in an early and design in a feasible manner that generates value to each other.
You know something, and I want Mr. Bligiannis on that, because my personal opinion at least is that, sometimes what you're saying, Mr. Giordamlis, has to do also that we don't have a bridge between the space technologies or other technologies with real operational resilience, okay, with the needs of the government and the infrastructure, of the critical infrastructure operators. So I would like Mr. Bligiannis, can you do that with the clusters of EFA group? Because you're doing that, you're trying to do that, creating clusters.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. So how you're trying to do that?
So EFA's actually structure is brought together to address exactly this need, to link the space capabilities to decision-making, operational decision-making systems. We bring together companies that have international experience and footprint across aerospace, security, defense, industrial cooperation, and they are organized in 4 different clusters: the unmanned autonomous systems, mission simulation training systems, the integrated services and sensors and targeting, each one of them contributing to this specific ecosystem. But our vision is to connect the full operational chain from ground and space subsystems to command and control systems, ISR, satellite communication, and these clusters, through these clusters, we aim to contribute to 3 key areas. First of all, the development of space and ground subsystems, as I said, to develop the future architecture, the future operational architecture towards this common operational picture. We have proprietary knowledge in command and control and tactical data links that we can use. And thirdly, to start the development, deployment, and why not provision of services across Europe. But that's not easy, and that's why we can welcome partners that share the same vision with us to this common defense umbrella.
Okay. Mr. Nagarajan, one question for this round. Okay, because as in OQ technology, you are redefining global 5G NTN connectivity through satellite communications. Which industries, and I don't know if someone that we talked before, do you expect to benefit the most over the next few years, and what opportunities do you see for countries such as Greece in order to put that perspective as well?
Sure. I think with the evolving framework for IRIS² constellation, right? So besides, of course, I already addressed the first responders, the emergency communications and environmental monitoring and maritime services.
Is it something else that you're going to see?
Yes, definitely. I think when it comes to government institutions and defense, right?
Okay.
These are the next big industries and verticals that will be impacted. Why? Because today, I think as some of my co-panelists correctly highlighted, when it comes to satellite services, we are heavily reliant on American systems, right? I think the European Commission has taken one step in the right direction about protecting the European sovereignty by reserving key parts of the satellite spectrum for European companies. That's already a great deal. But what we need to do as companies, satellite companies, satellite operators from Europe, is to be able to capitalize on it. And where does most of this come in? Definitely defense, definitely governmental and civil use cases. And I think that's where the next big impact is going to be, because this is all about sovereignty and European resilience, right? So this means that European satellite operators need to come in, take responsibility for this, and build a system for Europe first, and of course, eventually monetize it for the globe. But the EU sovereignty should be a key focus, and this is where I think this is going to help.
Nice. Okay, one last thing that we're going to do. We have some minutes, but I would like quick answers for that. Okay, that's more like a challenge. Okay, that's how I thought it. Let's say that the Greek government comes to your organization and says that, okay, I need you to design and deploy one nationwide space-enabled application over the next 3 years. What will you choose and why? Who wants to go first? I don't know. Okay, I will start there. Let's do it there. Mr. Exarchou.
We will take into consideration the geographic coverage that the Greek government has in its hands.
No, nationwide. In the whole Greece.
The whole Greece, yeah, it's small.
Okay.
You see? So maritime is big business. Iridium has 63 satellites that cover the full Earth, including Arctic. This is maritime. In Greece, I would see something in smaller, niche, but very good for humanitarian works, like migrants and covering this. This is not where the money is, but it's somewhere with a cascade effect in many sectors of the European defense and overall analysis.
Okay, so you're okay.
That would be sovereign, Greek, something that the Greek government could do, but we need to take into consideration the geography in maritime business.
Okay, Mr. Bligiannis, let's take it this way.
Yeah, if I had to choose one nationwide space-based application, and actually I believe that Greece can serve as a great starting point and regional hub, would be, as I said before, an architecture or an operational network towards a common operational, a trusted, secure, usable common operational picture. And this is because the nature of our geography, and I believe we need faster response, better coordination across governmental authorities, field teams, etc. in order to serve better the crisis management and maritime and national sovereignty.
Okay, Mr. Giordamlis, what would you suppose what you were going to do?
We live in a country where we want to discuss for years and things to happen within weeks. In space, things are not working in that way. From decision to a system that operates, 15 years or 20 years might be a small period of time. So, from
You have 3
humble
years.
experience, in 2 years, Greece is important to identify Greek technology bricks that can be parts of satellites, build alliances because in space, every country by itself, it's a small player. Even United States cannot afford to do everything by themselves. So build alliances and develop synergies and define a strategy and the planning that will be sustained for years.
Okay. Mr. Nagarajan. Nagarajan, sorry.
Yeah. So, I mean, in fact, I would like to,
One application.
paint out of the box a little bit, if I
Okay,
can say
yeah.
that.
That's why I was trying to put it out of the box. Let's hear it.
Look, definitely all the applications that we have discussed today, they can be catered to and delivered upon only if Europe builds the necessary framework when it comes to policy, or attract the necessary risk capital. Today, I know as OQ, I can speak that there are a lot of improvements when it comes to institutional sponsorship. OQ has been a recipient of the EIC's accelerator grant, or the governmental programs, or the ESA funding, or the venture debt from EIB. But what Europe lacks as a whole, not just Greece, lacks as a whole, is the large amount of risk capital that is absolutely necessary for companies, especially satellite and space-based tech giants, to scale. And I think this is where I would like to throw a bit of light on that. We need more risk capital to be attracted, preferably via Greece when it comes to Europe. And definitely an ease of policy and regulatory frameworks for satellite or European and Greek satellite operator to scale faster. These are two important aspects that I would focus on. It's not the application themselves, but what are the enablers?
Okay, thanks very much. Our time's up. Thanks very much for the conversation. Ένα χειροκρότημα παρακαλώ. Thank you.